The massive screens in Earth's Space Command Center displayed the approaching alien ships. Admiral James Thompson stood straight, his weathered hands clasped behind his back, as he watched the fleet of gleaming vessels draw near. Today marked humanity's first official presentation to the Galactic Council, and he knew everything would change. "They're hailing us, sir," announced Lieutenant Mike Rogers from his communication station. "The Council representatives request permission to dock at Space Station Alpha." Thompson nodded, his gray eyes steady. "Grant them clearance. Alert the welcoming committee." The alien ships were beautiful, sleek curves of metal that seemed to bend light itself, their hulls shimmering with colors Earth's engineers hadn't even dreamed of yet. As they approached the station, Thompson couldn't help but compare them to humanity's own vessels. The Earth Defense Fleet's ships were bulky, practical things, built more for function than beauty. They got the job done, but they weren't pretty. 3 hours later, Thompson stood in the station's main conference room, facing 5 alien representatives. Their species were as varied as their ships, some tall and willowy, others short and robust, but all carrying themselves with the unmistakable air of advanced civilizations. "We have reviewed your fleet specifications," said the lead representative, a tall being with iridescent skin who had introduced himself as High Commander Vale. "We find them interesting." The pause before the last word carried volumes of unspoken judgment. Thompson kept his face neutral as holographic displays of Earth's ships rotated in the air between them. The aliens examined each vessel with increasingly obvious disdain. "These propulsion systems," another representative said, her crystalline form catching the light, "they're barely above primitive chemical rockets. And your weapon systems," she made a sound that might have been a laugh, "they wouldn't scratch the paint on a proper warship." "We make do with what we have," Thompson replied evenly. "Our ships have served us well." "Serve you well?" Vale's tone dripped with condescension. "You haven't even left your local star cluster. Your fastest ships would take years to reach the nearest Council world. How could you possibly contribute to the Galactic Defense Force?" The other representatives nodded in agreement. One of them, a being composed of what looked like living metal, actually turned away from the displays as if they offended him. "Perhaps," Thompson suggested, "there's more to defense than speed and firepower." "Is there?" Vale gestured at the holograms. "Your largest vessel is smaller than our scout ships. Your armor would crumble under modern weapons. Your communication systems are laughably short-ranged." He shook his head. "No, Admiral Thompson. While we appreciate Earth's enthusiasm, you simply aren't ready for membership in the Galactic Defense Force." Thompson watched as they dismissed his fleet's capabilities one by one. They mocked the simple designs, laughed at the basic shield systems, and expressed disbelief at the primitive targeting computers. Each criticism was like a knife, but Thompson had learned patience over his long career. "We understand," he said finally, his voice carrying no trace of the anger or hurt pride that many of his officers, watching from the sidelines, clearly felt. "Earth thanks you for your consideration." As the aliens prepared to leave, Vale turned back. "Don't be discouraged, Admiral. In a few hundred years, perhaps your species will develop sufficiently to join us. Until then, focus on your local defense. The galaxy is a dangerous place for developing civilizations." Thompson said nothing as the aliens departed. He watched their magnificent ships pull away from the station, their drives leaving trails of exotic particles in their wake. Only when they were gone did he allow himself a small smile. Lieutenant Rogers approached him hesitantly. "Sir, are we really going to let them talk about our fleet like that?" Thompson turned to his officer, his smile growing just slightly. "Sometimes, Lieutenant, it's better to be underestimated. They see what we want them to see, nothing more." He looked out at Earth's primitive fleet, knowing what lay hidden beyond them, deep in the asteroid belt. Let them think us weak. When the time comes, they'll learn the truth about humanity's real capabilities. The Admiral's words hung in the air as he left the conference room, leaving his officers to wonder what their commander knew that the mighty Galactic Council did not. Deep within the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, hidden among the countless spinning rocks, something massive stirred. Dr. Emily Stone stood at the observation deck of humanity's greatest achievement, the Mothership Titan's Wake. At nearly 15 kilometers long, it dwarfed anything the Galactic Council had seen in Earth's visible fleet. "Atlas, status report," she called out, her voice steady despite her excitement. Today marked the completion of their 15-year project. The ship's AI responded in a calm, clear voice that filled the room. "All systems operating at optimal levels, Dr. Stone. Power core stability at 99.8%. Quantum shields are maintaining full coverage. Drone production facilities are ready." Emily smiled as she looked out at the massive shipyards that had been hidden within the hollowed-out asteroid. The Council's scanners had missed them completely, fooled by advanced cloaking technology that made the entire facility look like natural space debris. "Show me the drone swarms, Atlas," she ordered. The dark space around the mothership suddenly came alive with light as thousands of small, sleek vessels activated. They moved in perfect formation, like schools of fish in space, their quantum cores pulsing with soft blue light. Each drone was smarter than any computer the Council had seen, and together they formed a defensive network that could protect the mothership from any attack. "Beautiful," Emily whispered. She remembered how some had called this project impossible. Too big, they said. Too complex. But humanity had always been good at doing the impossible. The observation deck's door slid open, and Admiral Thompson walked in. He had come straight from the Council meeting, still wearing his formal uniform. "How did they react?" Emily asked, though she could guess from his slight smile. "Exactly as we hoped," Thompson replied, joining her at the window. "They think we're centuries behind them. One of them couldn't even bear to look at our primitive ships." Emily laughed. If they only knew what they were standing next to. She gestured to the massive ship before them. "The quantum core is stable, James. We've cracked faster than light travel in a way they never imagined possible." Thompson nodded, his eyes reflecting the soft glow of the drone swarms. "Show me." Emily turned to a control panel. "Atlas, initiate quantum jump test. Target: dark side of Jupiter's moon Europa. Minimum power." "Acknowledged," the AI responded. "Quantum field generating. Jump in 3, 2, 1. The space around Titan's wake seemed to bend. There was no flash of light, no dramatic effect, just a subtle ripple, like a stone dropped in a pond. Then the massive ship simply vanished, taking its cloud of drones with it. "Quantum jump successful," Atlas reported. "Now in position near Europa. All systems nominal." Emily's hands moved across the control panel, bringing up live feeds from Europa. There it was, their masterpiece, sitting quietly in the moon's shadow as if it had always been there. The jump had used less power than the Council's ships needed for basic life support. "How long until we're fully ready?" Thompson asked, his voice soft but intense. "The crew is trained. The ship is complete. We could launch tomorrow if we needed to." Emily turned to face him. "But are you sure we should wait? The Council's dismissal gives us the perfect cover tow." "Patience," Thompson interrupted gently. "Let them think us weak for now. When the time comes, when they truly need us, Titan's wake will show them what humanity can really do." Emily nodded, understanding the strategy. She looked back at their creation, remembering all the late nights, the failed attempts, the breakthroughs that had seemed like miracles. The mothership represented the best of human ingenuity, determination, and vision. "Bring her home, Atlas," she commanded. Another subtle ripple in space, and Titan's wake returned to its asteroid belt hiding place. As the drones resumed their dormant positions, Emily thought about the Council representatives who had laughed at Earth's fleet. They would learn soon enough that humanity's greatest strength lay not in their ship's appearance, but in their ability to surprise. "Let them mock us," she said quietly. The galaxy isn't ready for what we've built. The emergency alert came at midnight Earth time. Lieutenant Rogers burst into the command center, his face pale with shock. The massive screen showed dozens of Council worlds under attack by an unknown enemy fleet. "Sir," he called to Admiral Thompson, who was already studying the incoming data, "the Council's outer colonies are falling. Their defense fleet can't hold the line." Thompson watched as another distress signal lit up the display. The attackers had appeared from nowhere, their ships unlike anything seen before. They moved in perfect formation, striking hard and fast before vanishing again. "How many Council ships have been lost?" Thompson asked, his voice calm despite the chaos unfolding before them. "Over 300 in the first wave alone, sir. The Council's finest ships, torn apart like paper." Rogers shook his head in disbelief. "Their weapons, they just cut through the Council's shields like they weren't even there." Deep in the asteroid belt, Dr. Stone and her team watched the same data stream aboard Titan's wake. Atlas was analyzing every detail of the enemy's attacks, learning their patterns, understanding their technology. "Their quantum signatures are unlike anything in our database," Atlas reported. "But there's something familiar about their attack formations." Emily leaned forward, studying the holographic displays. "They're using swarm tactics, like our drones, but with full-sized warships." She turned to her team. "Start running combat simulations. I want to know if our countermeasures will work against their technology." The next few days brought more bad news. Council world after Council world fell to the mysterious attackers. The mighty Galactic Defense Force, which had so recently mocked Earth's fleet, found itself overwhelmed and outmaneuvered at every turn. In a secure bunker beneath Earth's surface, Thompson met with the world's leaders. The room was tense as he showed them the latest battle footage. "The Council is losing," he stated simply. "Their ships are advanced, but they've grown complacent. They rely too heavily on technology they barely understand anymore." He paused, letting his words sink in. "But we built everything from scratch. We know every bolt, every circuit, every line of code in our systems. Is it time?" one of the leaders asked, her voice quiet but firm. Thompson nodded. "Dr. Stone reports that Titan's wake is ready. Our simulations show our quantum shields can withstand their weapons, and our drone swarms are more advanced than their attack formations. But if we reveal ourselves now," another leader cautioned, "we can never go back to being the simple, primitive humans they think we are." "Perhaps," Thompson agreed, "but if we don't act, there might not be a galaxy left to surprise." Back on Titan's wake, Emily watched her crew run through their final drills. They had trained for years in secret, preparing for a moment they hadn't been sure would ever come. Now it was here, and they were ready. "Atlas," she called out, "show me the enemy's current position." The AI displayed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with red markers showing the advancing enemy fleet. They were methodical, systematic in their destruction, and they were getting closer to Earth. "They'll reach the Council's core worlds within 2 weeks," Atlas calculated. At their current rate of advance, Earth would be discovered in approximately 3 months. Emily's hand reached out to touch the hologram, her fingers passing through the light that represented billions of lives at risk. "We built this ship to protect Earth," she said softly. "But sometimes the best defense is to help others." Her communicator beeped. A message from Admiral Thompson. "Authorization granted. Operation Shadow Wake is go." Emily straightened, her voice clear and commanding. "Atlas, begin power-up sequence. Alert all crew to battle stations. Activate all drone production facilities." She smiled slightly. "It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do." Around the massive ship, the asteroid belt stirred as thousands of hidden drones came to life. The Mothership's quantum core hummed with power that would have made the Council's scientists weep with envy. Humanity's greatest achievement was about to enter the war, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council's emergency meeting chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 20 different species argued as reports of another fallen world flashed across the giant screens. Their mighty fleets, once the pride of the galaxy, lay in ruins. High Commander Vale stood at the center of the chamber, his iridescent skin dull with exhaustion. "The enemy will reach the core worlds within days," he announced, silencing the arguments. "We have lost contact with our colonies in the outer sectors. Our best ships are destroyed. We need—" He paused, his pride warring with desperation. "We need help." A ripple of disbelief spread through the chamber. The Council had never asked for help. They were the help. They were the most advanced civilization in known space. Or so they had thought. The chamber's doors slid open. Admiral Thompson walked in, calm and composed as ever. The alien representatives turned to look at him, some with surprise, others with dismissal. "Earth offers its assistance," Thompson said simply. For a moment, there was silence. Then laughter, harsh, bitter laughter, filled the chamber. "Assistance." Vale's voice dripped with scorn despite his desperation. "With your primitive ships, they would be destroyed in seconds." Thompson didn't flinch. "Not all our ships. Just one." The laughter grew louder. "One ship." A crystalline being asked between sounds like tinkling bells. "The enemy destroys entire fleets, and you offer one ship." "Yes," Thompson replied. "One ship, the Titan's Wake." He pressed a button on his wrist device. Above the chamber, a holographic display flickered to life. It showed a massive vessel emerging from the asteroid belt near Earth, its hull gleaming with technology the Council had never seen. Surrounding it were thousands of smaller craft, moving in perfect synchronization. The laughter died instantly. "Impossible," Vale whispered. "Our scans showed nothing like this. Nothing even close to this level of technology." "Your scans showed what we wanted them to show," Thompson explained. "While you mocked our visible fleet, we built something better. Something new." The hologram showed more details of the Mothership. Its quantum shields shimmered with power that made the Council's best sensors struggle to get readings. Its drone swarms moved with an intelligence that spoke of advanced AI far beyond what the Council thought possible. "This is some trick," one representative said, but their voice wavered. "Humans aren't capable of building something like this." "Atlas," Thompson called out. "Demonstrate." The AI's voice filled the chamber, causing several representatives to jump in surprise. Initiating quantum jump demonstration. In the hologram, they watched as Titan's Wake seemed to bend space itself. Then it vanished, reappearing instantly at various points around Earth's solar system. Each jump was silent, efficient, using less energy than a Council ship's basic systems. "By the stars," Vale breathed. "How did you?" "We built it all from scratch," Thompson said. "Every system, every component. We didn't copy ancient technology like the Council. We innovated. We experimented. We failed and tried again until we succeeded." The chamber was absolutely silent now. The screen still showed battles raging across the galaxy, Council worlds falling to the enemy. But all eyes were on the hologram of humanity's true flagship. "The Titan's Wake carries more firepower than your entire remaining fleet," Thompson continued. "Its quantum shields are based on principles your scientists haven't discovered yet. Its AI can process battle strategies faster than any organic mind." "And you kept this hidden?" Vale asked. "Why?" Thompson smiled slightly. "Because sometimes, High Commander, the best advantage is being underestimated." He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of those who had mocked Earth's fleet. "Now shall we discuss how humanity can help save the galaxy?" The Council representatives looked at each other, their earlier mockery forgotten. Pride warred with necessity, but necessity won. One by one, they nodded. "Tell us," Vale said quietly, "what your ship can do." The enemy fleet appeared above the Council's capital world like a storm of black arrows. Their ships, sleek and deadly, moved with predatory grace as they prepared for what they thought would be another easy victory. They didn't expect to find the Titan's wake waiting for them. Dr. Emily Stone stood at her command station aboard the Mothership, her hands steady on the control panels. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, each movement practiced to perfection. Enemy ships entering weapons range, Atlas announced. Detecting 347 capital ships, plus support vessels. Thompson's voice came through the command channel. Remember your training. Show them what humanity can do. Emily nodded. Atlas, deploy drone screens Alpha through Delta. Activate quantum shields. Power up the main cannon. The space around Titan's wake came alive as thousands of drones poured from its launch bays. They formed intricate patterns in space, layers of defensive screens that could adapt and reform in seconds. The enemy fleet hesitated, facing something they had never seen before. Then they attacked. The first wave of enemy fire struck the drone screen. But instead of destroying the small vessels, their energy weapons were caught in a web of quantum fields, dissipated harmlessly into space. The enemy ships fired again and again, but couldn't break through. Their weapons are based on conventional energy principles, Atlas observed. They have no defense against our quantum technology. Emily smiled. Show them why. The drones moved as one, their formation shifting like a living thing. Quantum beams lanced out, slicing through enemy shields as if they weren't there. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for weeks exploded into clouds of debris. They're trying to surround us, one of the bridge officers reported. Let them, Emily commanded. Atlas, initiate battle pattern Hydra. The mothership's massive hull began to change. Sections that looked solid shifted and reformed as the modular design showed its true purpose. What had been one ship became many, each section capable of independent action while remaining connected by quantum fields. The enemy's coordinated attack fell into chaos as they suddenly faced what appeared to be 5 separate capital ships, each surrounded by its own swarm of drones. Multiple enemy ships attempting emergency jumps, Atlas reported. Their drive signatures are vulnerable to disruption. Emily's fingers danced across her controls. Target their jump drives. Don't let them escape to warn the others. Precise quantum beams struck the fleeing ships, shorting out their engines. The enemy fleet, which had never known defeat, found itself trapped and outmatched. "Ma'am," a young officer called out, excitement in his voice. The Council's defense force is asking if they should join the battle. Emily looked at the tactical display. The remnants of the Council fleet hovered at the edge of the system, watching in awe as humanity's single ship dominated the battlefield. Tell them to hold position, she ordered. We don't want any accidents with our quantum fields. The battle lasted less than an hour. When it was over, the enemy fleet was reduced to scattered debris. Not a single ship had escaped. Titan's wake reformed into its original configuration, its quantum shields still at full power, its drone swarms returning to their base. Damage report, Emily called out. Minor energy fluctuations in Section 3, Atlas replied. Already restored to optimal levels. No other damage to report. The bridge crew let out a cheer, quickly stifled by their professional training. But Emily saw the pride in their eyes. They had faced humanity's greatest test and proved themselves beyond doubt. Send word to the Council, she ordered. Their capital is secure. And tell them, she paused, allowing herself a small smile. Tell them this was just a demonstration of what humanity can really do. As the message was sent, Emily looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the main enemy fleet was still ravaging the galaxy, unaware that everything had changed. They would learn soon enough that underestimating humanity had been their greatest mistake. High Commander Vale stood in Titan's Wake's main strategy room, watching humans work with a mixture of awe and shame. The massive holographic display showed enemy fleet movements across the galaxy, tracked by technology his people had never imagined possible. Their main fleet is gathering here. Admiral Thompson pointed to a cluster of red dots near the galactic core. Atlas has analyzed their movement patterns. They're preparing for something big. How can you be so sure? Vale asked. Our best analysts couldn't predict their movements at all. Emily Stone stepped forward, gesturing to the complex data streams flowing around the hologram. Atlas doesn't just track their ships, it understands them. Every jump they make, every attack pattern they use, reveals something about their strategy. As if to prove her point, Atlas's calm voice filled the room. Enemy fleet movements show a 94% match with theoretical siege formations. They are likely preparing to attack multiple core worlds simultaneously. Vale's skin rippled with concern. Even your remarkable ship can't be in multiple places at once. Thompson smiled. No, but we don't need to be. He nodded to Emily. Show him. Emily's fingers moved across the control panel, and the hologram changed. Now it showed Titan's wake at the center of a vast web of quantum energy. We've mapped their quantum signatures, she explained. Every time they make a faster-than-light jump, they leave traces our sensors can detect. We know where they'll be before they arrive. Impossible, Vale whispered, but without conviction. He had learned not to underestimate humans anymore. The main cannon is ready for full power demonstration, Atlas announced. All systems aligned. Thompson turned to Vale. You might want to watch this. A hologram shifted to a live feed from the front of the ship. The massive quantum cannon, hidden within Titan's Wake's hull, began to emerge. It was larger than most Council ships, a masterpiece of human engineering powered by principles that defied conventional physics. Target locked, Emily reported. Enemy staging area in range. Fire, Thompson ordered. The quantum cannon fired. There was no dramatic beam of light, no thunderous sound in space. Instead, reality itself seemed to bend as a wave of quantum energy rippled across the galaxy. When it reached the enemy staging area, their ships simply came apart. Not with explosions or destruction, but with the gentle inevitability of autumn leaves falling from a tree. Vale's legs nearly gave out. How many ships did we just? 217 capital ships, Atlas reported, plus support vessels. Total enemy losses, approximately 40% of their remaining fleet. The strategy room was silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just built a powerful ship, they had changed the rules of warfare itself. We tracked similar quantum signatures from their weapons, Emily explained, her voice gentle. So we developed a counter that works on the same principle, just better. She paused. When you dismissed our fleet, you gave us time to perfect it. Vale turned to Thompson. Why show me this, after how we treated you? Because the galaxy needs to change, Thompson replied. The Council's arrogance nearly doomed us all, but humanity's isolation taught us something valuable. There's always more to learn, always room to improve. The hologram updated, showing the enemy fleet in disarray. Their perfect formations had collapsed into chaos as they realized their vulnerability. We've transmitted the quantum cannon specifications to the Council's shipyards, Emily added. Your scientists won't understand it all at first, but we'll help them learn. Together, we can build a better defense for everyone. Vale's skin shifted to a deep blue, a sign of profound emotion in his species. We were so wrong about humanity, he said quietly. We thought you primitive, but you were revolutionizing science itself. Not primitive, Thompson corrected, just patient. And now that patience has paid off. He turned to the tactical display. Atlas, show us the enemy's remaining strongholds. It's time to end this war. Around them, Titan's Wake hummed with power as it prepared for its next jump. The tide of war had turned, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months after the first appearance of Titan's Wake, the Galactic Council chamber was packed with representatives from every surviving civilization. They gathered to witness something unprecedented, the formal admission of Earth into the Council's highest ranks. Admiral Thompson stood on the central platform, his uniform crisp and perfect. Dr. Emily Stone stood beside him, her hands clasped behind her back, as she watched the species that had once mocked humanity now look up at them with respect and admiration. High Commander Vale stepped forward, his iridescent skin glowing with formal patterns. "The galaxy owes humanity a debt we can never fully repay," he announced, his voice carrying through the vast chamber. "Not only did they save us from destruction, but they showed us how much we had left to learn." The screens around the chamber displayed images from the final battles. Titan's Wake leading the combined fleet, its quantum technology now shared with Council ships. The enemy's last stronghold falling not to brute force, but to carefully planned strategy and superior technology. In 3 months, Vale continued, humanity accomplished what our finest fleets could not in 3 years. They didn't just defeat the enemy. They revolutionized our understanding of space warfare, quantum physics, and artificial intelligence. Atlas's voice joined the presentation, causing excited murmurs among the representatives who were still amazed by the AG's capabilities. Final statistics. Enemy fleet neutralized. 87 Council worlds liberated. 0 civilian casualties in all Titan's Wake operations. Emily stepped forward to speak. "We didn't develop our technology to prove our superiority," she said, her voice clear and strong. "We did it because we had to. Because Earth had no ancient ruins to study, no advanced allies to help us. Everything we built from understanding the basic principles of the universe." Thompson nodded. "And now we offer that understanding to all of you, not as primitive newcomers to be dismissed, but as equals who have earned their place among the stars." The chamber erupted in applause. Species that had never agreed on anything found themselves united in their appreciation of human ingenuity and determination. Vale raised his hands for silence. "We have prepared a formal apology for our previous treatment of Earth's fleet," he began, but Thompson held up a hand to stop him. "No apologies needed," the Admiral said with a slight smile. "Your dismissal of our visible fleet gave us the cover we needed to perfect our real technologies. In a way, your underestimation of humanity helped save the galaxy." The council members looked at each other, surprised by this gracious response. Then Vale did something unprecedented. He bowed to the human representatives. "Then let us instead offer our gratitude," he said, "and our hope that humanity will help lead us into a new era of exploration and discovery." Emily stepped forward again. "Already, Council scientists are beginning to understand our quantum principles. Soon, every major world will have its own version of our defensive technologies. The galaxy will be safer for everyone. And Titan's Wake," someone called from the audience, "will remain Earth's flagship," Thompson answered, "but not as a weapon of war. Now that peace is restored, she'll serve as a symbol of what's possible when we push beyond our limits. A reminder to never dismiss new ideas just because they come from unexpected sources." The ceremony continued, full of formal declarations and treaty signings. But the real change had already happened in the minds and hearts of the council members. They looked at the humans with new eyes, seeing not primitive newcomers, but innovators who had surpassed them all. As the formal proceedings ended, Emily turned to Thompson. "Do you think they've really learned their lesson about underestimating others?" Thompson watched as council representatives crowded around the technical displays, eagerly studying the principles behind human quantum technology. "I think they've learned something more important," he said with a smile. "They've learned that the galaxy still has mysteries to solve. And now maybe they'll start looking for answers instead of assuming they know them all." Above the council chamber, Titan's Wake hung in orbit, its quantum core humming softly. Inside, Atlas monitored the celebrations while directing the drone swarms in a beautiful display of aerial precision. The ship was no longer a hidden giant or a weapon of war, but a testament to human potential, and a reminder that sometimes the greatest achievements come from those who were once thought least capable.